It actually worked. It actually worked. And that's funny because of today's title. So yesterday I tried forever to try and get this thing working. And it went 53 minutes and I said, you know what? Nothing's working right now. I'm just gonna record it onto my computer, and then I'll upload it, and then I'll send it to my virtual assistant, and then I'm gonna send it to the person that actually watches this and then types up a blog. I help her with that and things like that. And one of the biggest things is that actually triggered today's video, which is putting problems into perspective, okay? And I've been talking about this for a while, and it's kind of one of those things, and I'll give you an example today. So I woke up bright and early, 4 o'clock, snoozed my alarm 1 or 2 times, got out of bed at like 4:20, just started doing everything to get ready to go cycling. I did 50.4 miles today, which is, you know, just the usual route. I'm in New York City, out into New Jersey, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, coming back, and then you have the West Side Highway. So the West Side Highway, if you're not familiar, is like 3 lanes of people going as fast as they can until it's a red light. That's essentially what it is. It's out on the west side, obviously, West Side Highway, right along the Hudson, and you're going really fast. And actually, you're going downtown, or you could go uptown, but going downtown, you have One World right there, and you have the whole Trade Center you can see, and it's beautiful. It's an incredible scenic route. And I was actually thinking about it, and you're sitting there, and you know, there is a crossing lane for people, so it's 6 lanes to cross, and obviously you're not doing that unless you're mentally disturbed, or there's a red light, so you wait for the red light. The red light comes like every 4 to 5 minutes. So you're waiting there, there's time to think, and people sometimes pull out their cell phone, and you know, it's one of those things that you're like, should I pull out my cell phone? Should I not pull out my cell phone? Should I get distracted? Should I not get distracted? And the reason I say this is that is such a minute issue in your mind, okay? That issue is boredom. I'm not being stimulated. That is minor things of, I feel like I'm wasting time just sitting there. And I went into this appreciation where I sat there, it's overcast, it's not that nice out, it rained the last couple of days, Florence is coming up the eastern seaboard, Florence is a hurricane, and I just sat there, and it was about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and I just said, how grateful I am to be sitting here in New York City at this time where I can actually get my message out there based on years of all these people putting together book after book after book that I read for 10 years, all the seminars that I've been to, and compiling that and then spreading the message and then building up from there, and then getting a studio and then be able to do what I'm doing in real estate and things like that. And this is where it really comes down to, is that I feel that that life, and I've talked about it, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper today. I feel that life is so easy right now. You can get food delivered, you can get water delivered, you can get anything delivered to your household, you can get clothes, you can get things that you'd have to go to a convenience store, you could get alcohol delivered, you can get literally anything delivered. You can find out reviews and ratings about people and things all across the internet. You can learn endless amounts of education. You could learn endless amounts of things in your job, just becoming a better person. There's endless supplies of different types of food, different types of workout regimens. If you want to sleep better, if you want to understand, say, a disease, if you want the best doctor. Life has come where it's been so easy, and for millions of years, it was not, okay? And now we've come to this era where the smallest thing triggers people. And I'm not talking about, like, you know, people talk about snowflakes and triggering and things. I'm talking about the minor things where the temperature's a little bit too cold, or the train is a little bit too late, or my boss was a little bit too mean. He didn't give me the direct message, or I didn't get an A on my test. This is the perspective that I go into. I go, what was it like 100 years ago? What was it like 1,000 years ago? What was it like 10,000 years ago? And I literally say, right now, I can't say anything. I can't say anything. Someone 100 years ago, right now, hears a complaint about someone on the subway because it's a little too hot. Oh, by the way, you're sitting there in shorts, overweight, in shorts, and that's maybe why you're sweating, because you're a little overweight. I'm in a full suit. There's no complaint needed, okay? And this is where it comes down to, is that if you dwell more, as Tony Robbins says, more than 5 minutes on a major, major problem, this guy does according to him, $3 to $4 billion worth of business from all across his businesses, 22 businesses or 30 businesses, I don't know. Maybe the number is a little bit inflated, doesn't really matter. But he says it takes him 5 minutes. It used to take him 5 days, then 5 hours. Now he has it to 5 minutes. And why would he take longer? The guy is, what, almost 60 years old. Why would he dwell? Okay? If you get that minor thing in your life where you don't dwell on a problem, I'm giving you the solution of how not to dwell, where you literally say, what's a problem you're going through right now? Maybe it's money, maybe it's a relationship, maybe business isn't that good, or maybe your body isn't that good. It doesn't really matter. Whatever that issue that you're thinking about all day. Right now, I have 2 contracts that should be signed. I have another home that there's a leak from the roof coming down into the apartment, okay? What should I do? What should I do? Put in perspective. Do you have control over it? If you have control over it, a lot of people, it's so polarizing in the political arena or in the news arena that I don't follow it. I was actually thinking about that on my ride today when I was bike riding this morning. I was like, I don't follow this. Someone was talking about someone that's putting out a book about Donald Trump. I'm like, why would I follow this? What is this going to do in a year for me? There's 2 things that I look at. I say, am I going to donate to anyone politically? No. Okay? Am I going to do anything action-oriented for anyone politically? No. Your next excuse is, okay, Charles, don't you want to be informed? Why do I want to be informed? Give me a good reason. Well, so I know? What am I going to do with that? So I know what? Who to vote for? Okay, perfect. Well, there's enough people that actually care, that are getting paid to care, that are in positions to care, that I just say, leave it to them, okay? If there's something out of your control. This really comes down to people that are in deep, Brian Buffini, who's a real estate coach, he actually put it perfectly today. He said, people don't just end up broke. People don't just end up divorced. People don't end up in a shitty relationship or shitty friends or whatever really bad case happens to them, okay? It's a slow drip. It's a slow drift into that. It's not like, oh, watch this one, guys. I'm going to end up bankrupt this year. I'm going to spend all of my money. I can't wait to go on meaningless trips or spend all of my money on clothes that I don't need or technology or a bigger screen TV or a car that I can't afford or the monthly apartment that I can't afford. I can't wait to do that in 10 years. No, nobody starts out that way. But it's that slow, over time thinking, maybe this is not right, maybe this is not right. And then you start getting to the place of paralysis where you can't even, where you don't believe you could change the situation you're in. You've become so overweight, or you've become so broke, or your business is so bad, or you're at the age where you just give up, okay? And then even at that point, you have to put it in perspective. McDonald's, when was that started? The guy was in his 50s. KFC, when was that started? At 65. He was literally writing, he was either writing his obituary, I think he was writing his obituary, and he just said, I did nothing in my life. I did nothing. I was just, life happened to me instead of for me. Okay, this is more of a kick in the ass, because we all have problems. And by the way, as Jordan Peterson talks about, and as every other philosopher has talked about, is that life is suffering, okay? Life isn't supposed to be happiness, okay? Life isn't something you chase. You don't chase happiness, okay? Happiness doesn't come to you as well. It's a choice you make, the perspective you choose to make. Do I want to be the victim? Do I want to say that my problem is the biggest problem in the world? Or do I want to say, okay, this happened, see it how it is, don't see it worse than it is, see it exactly how it is, what's the solution? How do I get out of this? How do I put this into perspective in the entire grand scheme of things? In 5 years, this is what I always say, in 5 years, am I going to be thinking about this one deal that fell apart? Am I going to be thinking about this one thing? Even in the worst case scenario. I'm following this YouTube channel where I think it's 5 or 6 guys, and I don't agree with everything they say, but these are guys that talk about, masculinity and just being a man and how to hold yourself and how to, just things like that. And I think like 2 or 3 of them are divorced. And I think they became divorced because they were not the same person that their spouse married. Their spouse married a guy who was on his path, a man who did the things, he was decisive, he was in shape. I married this person, and then that slow drift over the time, and then there's communication kind of breaks down, sex kind of breaks down, and you just slowly drifting apart where you just say, how did we get to this point? We were so in love right here, or whatever the problem that you're in, okay? And then they get a divorce, and then he says, holy shit, it wasn't her. Holy shit, it wasn't my job. Holy shit, it wasn't something that I blamed it on. It was me. It was me. And now these guys came together and they say, okay, how do I become the best version of myself, okay? And then thinking about that, you actually say, okay, so if I put that in perspective, and all the guys have said this, they said, if I put this into perspective, divorce, it cost them, I think one or two of them had kids. It cost them a lot of money, cost them a lot of time, and it cost them a lot of public embarrassment between their friends. And guess what? They turned that into something good, and they said, I need to become the best version of myself. I need to start working out. I need to start focusing on myself, bettering myself. And it was funny because that was 5 years ago. Even going back to what I was originally saying, even the perspective of a divorce, and I'm not saying every divorce is good. I haven't gone through one, so I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying from people, these gents who went through it, they looked back and they said, even that brutal thing that happened in my life, that 1 year episode of a divorce, it was a good thing. But they put it in perspective because they said, what am I going to dwell on this? Or am I going to live my whole life? You know, the best way to say it is there's three things I don't like. And I'm just going to leave it here. Number one is excuses. Okay, what's your excuse? What's your excuse? It's probably pretty good. You've probably convinced yourself that it's actually real and that there's something that you can't change and you can't do anything about. Okay, I mean a realistic excuse. Okay, there's a lot of people that want to become part of the NBA, or they want to become part of, you know, they want to grow Amazon, yet they actually want free time. That doesn't happen. Jeff Bezos worked endlessly for 20 years to make sure that Amazon is one of the biggest companies. I think Apple's 1 trillion. I think Amazon over time is far going to exceed them. Okay. Number one is excuses. Number two is complaining. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. And to be honest, the people that hear it and listen to you, they're happy it's you and not them. Okay. And then number three is the people that don't actually take accountability for themselves. There's things in my life that I need to change. So I look at it and I say, okay, where am I right now? Where do I want to go? Where's the gap? And what's the smallest, the minute step I need to take today to make that happen? And it's really fucking hard. It's not easy because your brain is in stasis, as Jeff Bezos pointed out at an incredible Washington Post interview. It was Washington Post or Washington something interview. He said, we are in stasis right now. Human beings are in stasis because we've pretty much conquered everything, except guess what? The space, arena. Do we want to stay in stasis where we have limited energy, where we have limited, we have to control everything, the limited supply of everything, energy, food, waste, everything? That's stasis. Or we can expand among the stars, okay? Whether you agree or not, stasis is the worst thing that can happen. Because it's not really stasis. Stasis means you're actually going down because everyone else is going up. There is no staying the same. There is no staying the same. There is none. Okay? If you're not doing better financially than the year before, guess what? Inflation went up. Or you're spending more money. Your actual need for nicer things has gone up. I'll give you the last example is that I know this couple that I worked with in the past, real estate wise. They bought a place. They both make a ridiculous amount of money. Okay, I shouldn't say that. They make a good income, a few $100,000. I don't want to say a ridiculous amount of income because it's just a psychological thing where I want to say millions of dollars and billions of dollars is a ridiculous amount of money. So they. This is the thing is that they started making a ridiculous amount of money. Guess what they got? A nicer car, a nicer apartment. They started shopping at nicer places. They started going to restaurants and vacations. Their kids went to private schools. And guess what? They made more money, but the amount of money they saved was so minute because their spending went up. Okay? They increased So did their spending. Highly recommend that you put that in perspective of what about when something happens coming future. You know, Chris London, appreciate the Instagram message. He shot me a couple of messages about this is what we should talk about. Number one is personal finance. That's definitely going to be something that I'm going to be talking about. So I hope you guys put something in perspective. You know, your life, your problems, whatever you're complaining about, the heat, the cold, your wealth, your family, your relationships, your body, your mindset, you know, doesn't really matter, you know, to me. So put it in perspective of people that came before you. Put in perspective that if you're a male, that you came from an ancestry of warriors, men who went to war. They may have had you and then died, okay? But someone raised them. The tribe, his spouse, his partner at the time, doesn't really matter. You come from a tribe of warriors, and you're gonna complain to me or talk about, I don't wanna make phone calls, or I don't wanna go to the gym, or I don't wanna wake up early, or it's raining out, it's raining. Dude, shut the it just fires me up. So I hope that puts in perspective of a little bit about any kind of problem that you have. So we're gonna be going live. We got this fixed up. Have an amazing day. If you guys have any questions, shoot me an Instagram message. We're gonna be blowing up. I'm gonna be going YouTube live on BPI. We're gonna be talking about no fee and fee apartments. It's gonna be probably very popular. So if you guys have any questions with that, personal development, leave in the comments below. We're blowing up the iCharles website. We're also going to be expanding two things on BPI, which is my company. Number one is we're going to be building out a platform for videos, and that's going to be for real estate agents. And the second thing is we're building out a media portion where you could do auto liking and, you know, scheduling in your post and things like that socially. So those are two things that we're building out, and obviously the website 1% better, the magazine, just all in general, just 1% better. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to try things that fail. It doesn't really matter. You know, as Jeff Bezos said, he says something so, he goes, for every 100 mistakes I have one big explosion. I have one big powerhouse idea. And that's what I want to get to. So have an amazing day. I'll see you guys tomorrow live on Friday. Talk to you guys soon.